How can you stop being so cheap? Now, stick with me. I've done my research also here on YouTube. Nobody really talks about what I'm talking, and you need to watch this video really like 70-80% through until we get to the most important point, but I need to explain that so it makes sense. Nobody talks about this here on YouTube, and you need to understand that if you want to sustainably let go of feeling and being so cheap. Now, first of all, the problem is when you're losing money or you're spending money, this is more painful than it is joyful when you earn money or win money. And that's, by the way, a normal human bias. Everybody has that. But for you, it's even more skewed. It's even worse. And maybe you're even telling yourself, wait, I'm just saving this amount of money and then I can spend the rest. And when you are at the point, you still think, oh, maybe I can save a little more. You simply, it's never good enough. You always feel like, oh, you need a little more money that you can save. And it's so painful to spend money, you rather keep it in the bank. And right now, that's the best strategy because that feels a bit better, because spending it feels so shameful or guiltful. You feel so bad about it that you rather keep it. So that's right now the best strategy emotionally. But the question is this the overall best strategy? And that's what we want to work on. Two examples to make this a little more clear. One of my clients grew up in a poor family. They've been very stingy with money. And they also didn't have money. They were poor. And now at this point, she's not poor anymore. But she still feels that way. Whenever she's spending money, she's losing safety, because she learned early on money is safety. And if I don't have money, I don't have safety. And she even very quickly thinks about the worst case of like, oh, if I'm now spending this amount of money, then I might not be able to pay my rent in a couple of months. And she's immediately thinking about the worst case, just as it was back in the days, but it's totally unreasonable nowadays. But it's still haunting her. That's why she's very cheap. Also, an example from my life. I grew up in an upper middle class family. And on a day-to-day basis, like if I would go with my mom to the supermarket, my mom would be relatively cheap. Like she wouldn't buy unnecessary stuff or like unnecessary sweets for everybody, because it's just, money that you additionally spend it, you don't need to. Also buying like not the most expensive yogurt, but more like the cheaper one. But if it comes down to important investments, which would bring a lot of joy, my parents would not shy back from that. Like flying to the US with the children, like 4 people, going on holidays for 3 weeks, or sending me during holidays in summer to Oxford or Boston to learn English. Or my father really values motorcycles, and he bought himself a nice Harley Davidson. With those things, they didn't shy back, and they were willing to invest decent amount of money. But on the day-to-day basis, like going on the supermarket or something like that, going to a restaurant, they didn't do this so often. They've been more cheap with it and took care of the money here in a bit of a stingy way, I would say. And this affected me over my life as well, because I've been the same. I'm fine with big investments that are important and valuable to me, but when it comes down to buying a yogurt for €2, which would be relatively expensive here, like a small yogurt, I would be like, no. And to a degree that's fine and that's reasonable, but to a degree it's also a bit too much. And you can work on that. I know that you can work on that, and that's why I want to share some experiences right here. To not be so over-controlling. And the point right now is that you need to work on your money mindset. You have a money scarcity mindset. And I deliberately did not call this video, let's work on your money scarcity mindset, because this is exactly the wrong approach. This is way too broad. It sounds nice, let's work on my money scarcity mindset, but this is not what this is all about. And this is exactly what I'm trying to tell you. You don't need to work on your money scarcity mindset. You need to take a further step and understand what is behind. So I want you to come up with specific examples when you notice that you're too cheap. And I want you to think about what you're thinking or feeling. Maybe when you're in a supermarket and you're putting some additional stuff on the belt, which is not necessary, but you kind of like it and you want to just give it a try. Maybe you feel shame. Might be something. I felt that. Or you feel like a first world ungrateful millennial or whatever it is. or whenever you make or spend money over like three figure expenses, like something above $100, maybe you quickly feel like you're totally unreasonable. Maybe those are thoughts that run through your mind. Oh, you're unreasonable again. Are you not thinking? Or how should I pay rent in a couple of months? I mean, if I continue doing this, like if I would do this continuously every day, I would not be able to pay my rent. Or, oh, damn, you're so stupid. This is what I want you to think about. What feeling is coming up? Is it shame? Is it guilt? Is it anger? Is it insecurity? Maybe even how old do you feel? You know, in the very moment, do you feel like a little kid? How old? 5 years, 10 years? And what thoughts are coming up? And now we're getting more specific. And now you can work on that. I, for example, when I felt shame, I literally felt shame when I was like putting like chips on the belt or something unreasonable. You don't need, you know, it's not necessary. And you could also survive without buying that, but I do it. I felt shame. Interesting. So I don't need to work on my money scarcity mindset. I need to work on this feeling of shame, and then digging deeper. Where is this coming from? Why do I feel shame? How can I resolve that? And then we can work psychologically. But that's a different topic than just talking about money mindset, because that's not going to get you anywhere. It sounds fancy. It's some mental masturbation. Oh, great, I'm working on my money mindset, but we're not getting to the core. You cannot work on that. In coaching sessions, if people tell me, okay, I want to work on my money mindset, great, but let's use the first sessions to dig deeper and become more aware of what we're actually talking about. Very important. Otherwise, you're not going to resolve it sustainably. It's not going to be helping. Or just, listening to some affirmations. I'm full of abundance, I'm full of this, full of that. If you don't believe it, because deep within you feel maybe guilt or shame, or you feel like you don't deserve it, or you're not worth it, this amount of money, then it just feels like toxic positivity to tell yourself I'm full of abundance. And toxic positivity again then feels like in return, like you're actually trying to fake something, and then you feel like a fake. That's also not great. It's actually unproductive. Yeah. If you want to work on that, let's talk. The first call is for free. I just want to get to know you, want to see how working together would look like, and I also want to work out a strategy that fits tailored to you. But of course, long-term working together would involve some finances. And with the money mindset, it's interesting because often, it's also with other topics, the exact reason why people reach out to me and what they want to work on is sometimes holding them back from actually working together with. And that might be something here with us as well, but let's give it a try. Let's hop on a free call. Let's talk about it. Let's openly talk even about money and pricing and what does this evoke within you. You can even start working on that. And yeah, there are no strings attached here. There's nothing pushy going to happen. We just get to know each other. We just make a decision together, very relaxed. So there's a link below the video. There you can just sign up for it. You get guided through something, and then we talk soon. And I'm looking forward to talking to you soon.